Well, hello and welcome everybody to the New Health Conversation. And for all the censors out there that monitor the community guidelines, we always tell you at the New Health Conversation that one thing that separates us from everybody else to be compliant is we only quote from peer-reviewed human trial research that's published in the biggest medical journals in the world. Nothing we give to people is our opinion. Everything that we talk about is in the public domain. They all can see it. Everything is original research. I've written 4 best-selling books, some of the biggest medical doctors in the world, 20 shows on PBS, and over 1,500 live lectures around the world. We pride ourselves on providing accurate, real information. No claims, no hysteria, no anything that's not medically proven. So I just like you always to know that when we start. Well, hello, everybody. Hello, Afros, Maggie, user. Anyway, hello everybody, and this is real. 60 pounds in 3 months. It's not a diet. She didn't exercise, and there's no calorie counting. This is going to change everything you ever thought about diet, exercise, and nutrition. So hello and welcome. Again, this is not, okay, let's go to her then. Let's try Kristen. Hello, is anybody out there? Is anybody curious about this? Hello, everybody. Hello, Rhonda. Are you curious about the ultimate weight loss breakthrough backed by 10 peer-reviewed human trial studies that's going to render all diets utterly irrelevant? None of you, if you listen to this podcast, which is a live podcast, it's not pre-recorded, it's not an infomercial. If you listen to this, you'll stop counting calories, paleo, keto, whatever diet you're on, because none of them work long term. There's never been a study that showed that going on any diet ever caused weight to be lost and be able to keep it off. Hello, Sarah. Hello, Coco. So let me show you some of the results. This is the most typical. 5 pounds a week is pretty much the average, men and women, without even any exercise. How many of you would, I'd love for you to put it in the comments, how many of you would love to be able to lose 5 pounds a week with no exercise, no calorie counting, and instead of losing any water weight, she lost no water weight and gained 6 to 9% lean muscle mass with no exercise? This is so revolutionary. Well, most women on this lose a whole dress size in just 7 days. If you look at her stomach, look at how much her stomach went down in 30 days. She's not holding it in. That's actually from the properties of this, which is not a diet. You know what this is? It's a detox with this amazing weight loss side benefit. It was developed and invented after 40 years of research, 100 studies. Here's the other thing. There's no products to buy. So don't think there's some magic elixir or capsule you're going to take. It's based on food and new ways of eating. And the foods, about 30% of what you would consume, you'd buy at your grocery store, you actually had a grocery list. But the other 70% come from these exotic foods, not from us, not from the researchers, but from other researchers who've gone around the world to places like Russia, Mongolia, Tibet, South America, New Zealand, to find huge amounts of nutrients in very small amounts of food. So the whole paradigm about counting calories is ridiculous. It's silly. It doesn't work. It's never worked. And keep tapping on that screen, everybody. I'm really excited about what's going on. He Was No Doctor joined. Coco joined. Lacey joined. Evelyn joined. Howley. Carrie. So are you all curious? Would anybody like to put in the chat? Would you like to know how she did this? But she's not the only one. Look at this, everybody. Julie, 35 pounds in 37 days. And then, you hear when you get older, it's really hard to lose weight. Look at Curtis here, everybody. He's 65 years old, 40 pounds and 52 inches in a month. A1C from 8.4 to 6.4, triglycerides 242 to 124. Has anyone seen anything like this ever in their whole lifetime? This is real. That's 10 pounds a week. 10 pounds a week. Now, let me introduce myself briefly because I want you to understand I'm not just some guy. I've been a nutrition researcher for 23 years. I wrote 4 best-selling books with some of the biggest medical doctors in the world. I've done 20 shows on public broadcasting and did over 1,500 live lectures around the world. Now, the thing about it is those 22 years with all that academia in the medical world, it meant zero. Why? Because there were no published peer-reviewed human trial studies. This protocol we're talking about has now been published in 10 of the biggest medical journals in the world. Things like the Obesity Journal, things like Nature Communications, which is the #1 medical journal in the world. Are you really serious about losing weight? Are you really thinking that the diet you're on now is actually going to work long term? Because even Harvard Medical School, Medicare search for effective obesity treatments. Diets are not the answer. That's even Medicare saying that. We're going to show you something today where you could lose weight literally in 4 days. It would take you a month on a diet, and you're going to be able to maintain it. The main the three big reasons to do this. One, it's a detox. Number two, it lowered inflammation in the body 25%. And three, it's sustainable. That's one of the most important parts about this. It's sustainable. And we got lots of likes going on. A lot of people liking the content right away. Thank you very much. I really appreciate that. Now, how? Good, Caitlin. I'm going to do that right now. Let me just take a breath, okay? So, this was invented by the top weight loss nutrition physiologists in the world who've done 100 studies over 40 years, everyone. And they analyzed about every kind of diet out there. And you know what they found? No diet ever worked long term. And 2/3 of all the people that they studied actually ended up gaining more weight than they lost. And that was due to the fact that of whatever weight you think you're losing, 25 to 40% of the weight on any of these diets is your lean muscle mass. See, those influences, they're not telling you that part. They're saying, oh, you can lose 20 pounds. Yeah, well, the 20 pounds, even if you could lose it, think about it. If 40% is lean muscle, that's 8 pounds of lean muscle. And what happens when you lose lean muscle in your body, two of the most unhealthy things you could ever do to yourselves. Number one, it slows down your metabolism. That's why you plateau in these diets and gain everything back and more. But the other thing it does by losing lean muscle mass, it slows down your own immune system. So the researchers said, wait a minute, we're going to create something that has nothing to do with counting calories. Do you all get that? As a matter of fact, does anyone even know what the definition of a calorie is? The real medical definition. Because in a year's time, I've had 11 people that have actually gotten it right, including a lady in Japan just a couple hours ago, and it was 4:30 in the morning. A calorie is useless. The body has no idea what calories are. Why are you counting calories? Because someone told you. So the research said, wait a minute, we're going to do something totally different. The reason diets fail, I'm going to tell you right now, and they do fail. Every single one of them's failing long term. Because when you go on a diet, you're really reducing the amount of food you're consuming. What else you're reducing? Nutrition. When your brain figures out there isn't enough nutrition, it stops accessing the fuel inside your fat cell and turns to your muscles for fuel and automatically then begins to slow down your metabolism. That's why you lose weight initially on these diets. Then it goes to a trickle and then it stops. Then you plateau and then you start gaining all the weight back. That's what all the studies show. None of what I'm sharing with you is my opinion. I'm very sensitive to that because of the community guidelines. We only share, and all this is available to you in the public domain. But we've made it easy. Right above our head there in blue, the New Health Conversation. It's a free medical website where you can go and see all the medical proof behind what I'm telling you right now. So the researchers picked out foods based on one principle, large amounts of nutrition. And they gave you a grocery list that you would take. So if you took 30% of what you spent at the grocery store last month, that's about all you're going to spend this month, but you're going to get a list of proteins, fats, carbs, fruits, and vegetables. But instead of giving you calorie amounts, you're going to get serving sizes. Very important. Then the other 70% of what you would buy doesn't come from the United States. These other researchers had spent 20 years going around the world to places like Russia, Mongolia, Tibet, South America, New Zealand, Bangladesh, to find huge amounts of nutrition, but very small, or even the way we consume food. So 30% would come from your grocery store and 70% from these exotic, what the researchers call the world's most perfect meals. There's so much nutrition in these foods around the world. Unless you're on a prescription for calcium or iron, you need no more supplements. This is not supplements. It's not a pill that you're taking. Now that they had the things, then what did they have her do? Okay, so 5 days a week, she had 4 meals a day. She started the meal with these nutrients from around the world that are called the world's most perfect meal from a nutritional standpoint. That's what the researchers call it. Lunch from the grocery store list, dinner from the grocery store, and a fourth meal, these nutrients from around the world. Okay, that's 5 days a week, 4 meals a day. 2 days a week, no food from the grocery store, only these exotic foods from around the world. But this time, she was having something every hour and a half. So you're not actually preparing a meal, you're taking nutrients in, not supplements, not in a pill, no. This is in either water, it's in tea, it's in a soup or whatever, okay? Well, the results were astounding. Do you know the diabetics on this? No one had insulin spikes. It was so dramatic that the diabetics on this, the need for insulin, which they were measuring, came down 41% in 30 days. And that's not even the biggest part. The biggest thing that was done here was proving that this is removing chemicals from our body. The researchers did blood, stool, urine. In fact, fat announced. You think they're doing that with keto or paleo or Mediterranean? Because they're not. There's never been a diet shown to remove a gram of toxin from the body. Lest you think we're not, go look up microplastics in your brain. They now finding microplastics in our brain and in our coronary arteries, along with herbicides and pesticides and Scotchard that we're storing inside our body. And how does the body store it? As you ingest these chemicals, the body takes that chemical and stuffs it inside the fat cell, and the fat cell expands. See, don't let anybody tell you that you burn fat on a diet or exercise. It's a total lie. You're born with a certain number of fat cells, you die with a certain number of fat cells, and they can expand or contract. That's it. That's why you all complain about how much, it's not just the weight you have, but how much fat you have. If you look at her stomach on day 1, look at her stomach on day 30. That's with no exercise. They didn't allow anybody to exercise because they didn't want exercise to be an outlier. Otherwise, you say, well, they lost weight because it was diet and exercise. No, it wasn't. No one was allowed to exercise. I lost 40 pounds in 7 weeks 23 years ago, which is really the other huge reason to do this is maintenance. How simple is maintenance? I have these exotic foods for breakfast every day. I have a lunch. I had lunch already, and I'm going to have dinner. And then every couple months, I do another 48 hours once I lost the weight. But how many of you would, I'd love you to put it in the contact. How many of you would give anything to lose 5 pounds a week? Not a month, 5 pounds a week. Who? Tell me in the chat. Please, someone put it in the chat. You're following this. I'm doing good. Who in the world would think that this was even possible? And again, this protocol is published in 10 of the biggest medical journals in the world. I don't want you to believe me, but do you believe medical science? There's no products to buy here, everybody. But again, how excited would you be? Please, someone put it in the chat. If you could lose 5 pounds a week. Hello, Ari, Marina, NH, Angie, She, Shred, Sandon, T. Sandlin, I believe it is, and travel with, I believe it's travel with Monica, probably. I don't know. It cut off at the end. I couldn't read the whole thing. But honestly, any of you, let's have an open discussion. This is live. And I'm not telling instant pressure. I've been a nutritional researcher for 23 years. I've written 4 best-selling books, 20 shows on public broadcasting, and 1,500 lectures around the world. And for 22 of my 23 years, you know what that meant in the medical world? 0. It wasn't until about 15, 16 months ago, these peer-reviewed the journals started to publish the results of this. It's going to change the world. How could you think? Okay, so let's assume you want to prove us wrong. At least go to the website. It's free to go there, the New Health Conversation, and we're not even going to contact you. Why should we have to contact you when we have the medical proof? Why would we need to do that? So Coco or Crystal or Monique or Pink or Casey or Francesca, does anybody have a question for me? Probably you want to know how they did it. I'll do that again. I just finished it about a minute ago. But I want anybody else to know or ask me a question. It's right there. Do you see it above her head in blue? Crystal, the New Health Conversation. Can you see that? So Crystal, let me show you. Go to Google, type in the New Health Conversation. It's completely free to go there. And there's the link, the New Health Conversation. There's the website, Crystal. There's nothing to buy except the medical proof. Number 1 is an exclusive podcast with the #1 weight loss researcher in the world. And then number 3, the actual medical studies, Crystal. You can actually go and see them. We're not hiding anything. I see people wanting to sell you an app to give you recipes, and then you get a coach, really? And they don't have one shred of medical evidence. Crystal, can you tell me anybody that you know of, that you've seen on social media with any peer-reviewed human trials published in any of the medical journals, peer-reviewed human trials? Who would it be? Because you don't get published in these medical journals unless it's peer-reviewed, done on human beings, and then vetted by the top people in the world. Crystal, do you realize? No, you're saying no, right. And Crystal, please understand, if you go to the website, we're not going to contact you because we don't want you to feel like you're going to get harassed. Our coaches we have nothing to sell you. You're going to buy 30% of your food from the grocery store and 70% from these other researchers who went to Russia, Mongolia, Tibet, South America, New Zealand to find these nutrients in some of the areas, these blue zones where people live and be 100 years old. I want to put that stuff on my body. What about you? This is too good to be true. I understand the more that I talk about it, the more skepticism I create. So prove us wrong. Everybody, prove us wrong. Go to that website, the New Health Conversation, and look at the medical proof. Would you believe the #1 rated the #1 weight loss nutrition physiologist in the world, because he's on there in a podcast telling you, stop. They said they'll never recommend a traditional diet to any of you ever again. I mean, how much evidence do you want to see? Here's Medicare talking about their investigation to try and find a solution for obesity. Medicare's search for effective obesity treatments. Diets are not the answer. The researchers at Medicare studied the long-term outcomes of calorie-restricted diets to assess whether dieting is an effective treatment for obesity. The study showed that 2/3 of dieters regained more weight than they lost on any diet. In summary, there's little support for the notion that diets lead to lasting weight loss or health benefits. 2/3 of the people are gaining more weight than you lost. That's not my opinion. Yeah, I get really animated. I get really amped up on this. We're your advocates. We're doing the work because you're following influences that are just giving you opinions. If what they had was great, they'd be published in the medical journals. They're not. There's no evidence that what they're telling you works long term. Do you understand that? It's pitiful what's going on. Pitiful. So again, we got 3,000 likes, but I know we got new people coming on all the time. Who would like to ask me a question about this? How did she do it? How was it possible? Who would like to ask me a question? Hello, Dan. I see Dan's on there. Coco 1225. Did you have a question? I know, Crystal, I just answered your question. But all of you, including Coco, why wouldn't you go to that site? You don't have to answer if you don't want to. It's okay. But it's a free it's the medical proof, for crying out loud. Why wouldn't you go there? I don't want you to believe me, Coco, or any of you, right? Samuel or Brittany or Happy Dad or Empress MC. This is real, the medical breakthrough on obesity that took 40 years and 100 studies. I had nothing to do with it. And there's no products to buy. There's no product. This is a combination of 30% of the food from your grocery store, and you get a list of those foods, and 70% from these nutrients that come from all over the world, from Russia, Mongolia, Tibet, South America, New Zealand. And most of it's in the form of liquid. What's the world's most perfect meal? Mother's breast milk. These natives, so they have a soup or they have a tea or they drink it with water, these massive amounts of nutrients. So you can have very little amount of food by bulk and have huge amounts of nutrition. That's what made this work. It's not a diet. Hello, Edith. Hello, Caps Shan. Hello, Nadine. Hello, user 1988. So who else would like to ask me a question? And we're stalled at 3,000 likes. Come on, let's get some more taps on the screen. Let's get some more likes. Somebody likes the content or it wouldn't be at 3,000. So Empress or Brittany or Happy Dad, I'm live. I'm live. What question would you like to ask me? Any of you? Ezekiel. I said hello to you, I think earlier, Ezekiel. But can you all see the website right above her head, the new Health Conversation? It's a free medical website for you to go, and if you go there, we won't even contact you. I don't understand why more people aren't taken advantage of. Look at my friend's daughter, everybody. 60 pounds in 3 months. 60. That's not 6. That's 60 pounds in 3 months with no exercise. Look at her face, look at her arms, look at her body. Who would like to comment on that? Do you think it's the same woman? Because if you think we're lying, then you're on the wrong podcast. We don't do that. We don't make up things. Anything we're showing you is backed by is published in these big medical journals. That's why this is so amazing. There's nothing like it on the planet. So who else would like to ask me a question? You don't have to be shy. I'm a really nice person. I'm a researcher, but I'm a really nice person. And I would love to address any of your questions because, again, here's what I would challenge you all. Prove this wrong. Go look at you can't, because this is the thing. A peer-reviewed human trial study is what's called irrefutable medical proof. It's already been scrutinized by the top people in the world, the top medical doctors and the top, in this case, nutritional researchers. So we got user 191, we have X toasted coconut, okay? We got Precious Life, we got Tippy Chan, we got Grandma Rita 15. So again, we have all these people coming on. I don't know if you're staying or leaving or going or whatever, but There's the website you can all go to. But look, 60 pounds in 3 months. Does anybody think that's Photoshop? They think it's not real? They think we lied to you? Because if you do, you're on the wrong podcast. We pride ourselves on the truth. Our job is to make you aware that we don't sell you anything. There's no products to buy. This is food. But this protocol was developed by the top weight loss nutrition physiologists in the world. And this is the typical 5 pounds a week is pretty normal with no exercise. And she lost no water weight and gained 6 to 9% lean muscle mass. How does that sound to everybody? So who would like to make a comment about this or ask me a question? Anybody? Hello, Bella Parent. Hello, Sarah Carter. Heather, Tina Kemper. Blue. Oh, good. I'm good you asked me. I'm so glad you asked me, Bella Purnett. Is it Belly Purnett or it's Bell Epernett? Whatever. I don't mean to mispronounce your name, but I'm going to explain to you exactly how they did this. All right. So I want you all to pay attention if you want. It was invented by the top weight loss nutrition physiologists in the world after 100 studies over 40 years, 4 decades. And what they concluded was all the diets that they'd analyzed in 40 years, none of them ever worked long term because they all had a fatal flaw, and that was all based on calories in, calories out. The first problem with that is your body has no idea what a calorie even is, so counting calories is ridiculous, okay? You're alive because of 3 things, and one of them is not calories: air, water, and nutrition. And what happens on diets, and the reason they fail, I'm going to explain to you first, and then I'm going to show you why this works. That a diet is nothing more than reducing the quantity of food you're consuming. But in so doing, you're also limiting what? Reducing what? Nutrition. When your brain figures out there isn't enough nutrition, it immediately goes in starvation mode, thinks you're starving to death because you are from a nutritional standpoint of view, and stops accessing the fuel inside your fat cell and turns to your muscles for fuel. And as your body continues to use muscles for fuel, it has no choice. The brain, it slows down your metabolism. That's why you plateau on these diets. That's why you gain all the weight back. Am I making sense to all of you? Do you all get this? Now, so the research has said the key to life would be we need to make sure we're always having enough nutrition to run all the organs, because the brain senses when there's not enough nutrition, because you couldn't be alive without nutrition. It runs your brain, your heart, your kidney, your liver. So when you got less fuel, the brain flips out and goes in maintenance mode. Well, the point is that the research said we're going to pick out foods with high levels of nutrition. That's the number 1 criteria. And they put a grocery list together that you'd actually get, that she got, but only whatever you spent last month, figure 30% you're going to spend this month at your grocery store, where you're going to buy what you would consume real, like chewable food, right? Proteins, fats, carbs, fruits, and vegetables. But only 30%, and no calorie counting at all, none. They created serving sizes. So if it was protein, how many ounces? If it's a vegetable, is it a third or a half a cup or whatever? It's all laid out. There's no guesswork. You don't have to figure anything out. This is what they did in these medical studies to produce this kind of a result. So 30% you're buying from your grocery store of what you spent last month. The other 70% pretty much pays for these other, they're called exotic foods from around, well, exotic nutrients is the real term. And they come from places like Russia, Mongolia, Tibet, South America, New Zealand. They represent huge amounts of nutrition, but small quantities of food. Then they created a new way of, not a diet, a new way of eating called protein pacing, where 5 days a week you would have 4 meals a day, everybody. You start with these exotic foods from around the world, no food from the grocery store. Lunch from the grocery, dinner from the grocery store, and a 4th meal, these nutrients from around the world. Then 2 days a week, no food from the grocery store, only these exotic foods, nutrients from around the world. But this time, you're having something every hour and a half. So you're not really cooking a meal, you're having all these nutrients. It's not a capsule, no, it's either in a tea, or it's in water, or maybe it's in a soup, for example, all right? Now, the results were this, that the diabetics on this, there were no insulin spikes. In a month's time, people's hunger went down 41%. And then listen to the biggest reason to do this. The researchers did blood, stool, urine, and fat analysis, proving this was assisting the body in removing chemicals. In case you didn't know it, we're storing them in our fat cells. That's why you all complain about not just how much weight you have, but how much fat. Your body, to protect us, is storing these chemicals that are coming from water and air and food inside your fat cells. And your fat cells are expanding to accommodate the chemicals. So there's no such thing as burning fat. That's a complete lie. No diet, no exercise program burns fat. You're born with a certain number of fat cells, you die with a certain number of fat cells, and that's it. But your fat cells can expand or contract. Well, look at hers on day 1 and look at hers on day 30. I mean, and but they have the medical proof to prove it. Okay? But okay, so number 1 reason to do this is detoxification. What's number 2? They also proved in this, they lowered inflammation in the studies. It's in the studies. You get to see them by 25% in a month. No one's ever seen anything like that. No diet's ever produced a drop in, well, it hasn't produced a gram of losing chemicals from your body, let alone inflammation. And the third thing is the sustainability. That picture's 8 or 9 years old. They've kept the weight off for 8 or 9 years. I lost 40 pounds in 7 weeks 23 years ago. I've kept it off for 23 weeks. I know it sounds good to be true. So now who has a question about what I just covered? And can we get some taps? We've been stuck at 3,000 likes. Not that I've complained, but my God, we've been stuck now for 20 minutes. And I've been on, well, not 20, but yeah, because I've only been on for 25 minutes. Come on, can we get some taps? But who would like to ask me a question? I just went through that whole thing with all of you. So Raquel and user 834 and Nancy and Ange. Are you curious about that? Is it real? Is it fake? Did we Photoshop it? No, we didn't. She was not allowed to exercise. She wore a Fitbit to prove she didn't exercise. She lost no water weight and gained 6 to 9% lean muscle mass. I'll show you another one. Here's Julie. How about 35 pounds in 37 days, everybody? Look at that. Look at how much your body shrank. That's not Photoshop. That is real. Wow, Rachel, I've been on it. I'm now down 21 inches. What did she do, Nancy? I'm going to explain it to you in just give me a second, okay? But you got Rachel Quinn right above. She said, how much weight have you lost, Rachel? And how long have you been on it? I'm just curious. So this is actually Nancy, someone actually doing it. I don't know this person. I didn't set it up for her to come in and talk. But hopefully she'll... No, it's not fasting, Nancy. Please, I'm going to explain it to you. Just be patient. I promise I'm going to explain it to you, all right? Now, let me show you just 2 more pictures, and then I'm going to explain exactly, walk you through Nancy step by step, okay? Look at this, Nancy. This is the daughter of a friend of mine. Look at that, Nancy. 60 pounds in 3 months. Look at her face, look at her arms, look at her stomach. What do you, give me your comment about that. What do you think? It is the same woman. 10 pounds, but I just went to remission from Cushing. So it's a little harder for me. Oh, but that's still, but Rachel, you're still losing weight. You're doing wonderful, right? Okay, Nancy, let's shift back. So Nancy, can I ask you something if you don't mind? How much would you like to lose? And if you were going to lose 20 pounds, say you don't know anything about this, on any diet you can pick to lose whatever weight you want to lose, how long would you give yourself? It's important so that I can give you, now this is one-on-one with me. Because I want to do a personal sort of consultation with you to show you what's possible. 20 would be nice. Okay. How long would you give yourself to do that? Say you're not on this podcast today. Three to 4 months. Okay, well, you see she lost it in 30 days. How much would that? Nancy, it's so powerful that in 4 days you'll lose as much weight on any diet in a month you've ever been on. How much would that incentivize you? But it's not a diet. So let's talk about what she did. First of all, Nancy, yeah, I know. Well, look at it. There it is. But it's better than that even. Look at how about 60 pounds in 3 months? That's 5 pounds a week for 3 straight months, right? Yeah, I promise, Bill, I'm going to go over all that with you in just a moment, okay? But let me go back to the basics. So the research is interesting you said that, because the whole key to this thing was the researchers abandoned calorie counting. So Nancy or Bella Purnett, no calorie counting. No way. They don't want you doing that. What they base this on, that after 40 years of research, 100 studies, over 40 years, no diet ever worked long-term because they all were based on calorie counting. This is not calorie counting. The only thing your body cares about, your body doesn't care about calories. It doesn't even know what a calorie is. Why are you counting calories? Because that's what someone told you to do. The key to this was one principle. They were going to find foods with high levels of nutrition, even though they were giving you less food. So they put a food list together, grocery list. You literally would take it to your grocery store, Nancy and Belpernet. That food list includes proteins, fats, carbs, fruits, and vegetables. No calorie amounts. serving sizes that you would get. So like how many ounces of protein? Was it a cup or half cup of vegetables? It's all laid out. There's no guesswork. You get that list for free because we don't sell you anything. There are no products to buy. This is food. So take your whatever you spent last month on food, take 30% of it, you're going to buy at your grocery store and you get the list. The other 70% of what you would buy from your food from last month is from other researchers. None of these, what I'm going to share with you next, come from the United States. They're nutrients that come from Russia, Mongolia, Tibet, South America, New Zealand, because the only thing your body ever cares about is the nutrients. It doesn't care about food. It doesn't care about calories, okay? So 30% of the food from the grocery store, 70% from these exotic foods. There are things like trace ionic minerals. To give you an idea, in the United States, the best organic food you can buy, you get about 20 trace ionic minerals. A source they found had you need 70, and you're getting 20 in the United States, even if it's organic food. They found a source with all 70 trace ionic minerals. They found a nutrient in Mongolia that has been proven to lower inflammation and stress in your body. They found nutrients that come from Nepal and the Himalayas that do the same thing. Actually, they help also to detoxify the body, even of like heavy metals. This is nothing you can buy in Kansas, Nebraska. It doesn't exist in North America, right? Okay, so now they had the foods, 30% from the grocery store, 70% from these exotic foods around the world. Then they created a new way of eating, and they actually got a registered trademark U.S. Patent Office called protein pacing. What the heck is that? 5 days a week, she had 4 meals a day. She started her day with these exotic nutrients from around the world. That was breakfast. Lunch from the grocery store, dinner from the grocery store, and a 4th meal after dinner, these exotic nutrients from around the world. Got it? So 5 days a week, you're eating 4 times a day. Now, 2 days a week, no food from the grocery store, only these exotic foods around the world. But this time, remember, you're having nutrients. So it's very tiny amounts of food, but huge amounts of nutrition. And you're having it every hour and a half. So you're not preparing a meal. You're having the nutrients. It's not a capsule. You maybe have it in water, or you have it as a tea or whatever, okay? The coaches go over all that with you for free. And the results are what? This, 5 pounds a week. But the biggest reason to do this, by the way, diabetics on this, no one had insulin spikes. As a matter of fact, the diabetics on this, the need for insulin, which is what a diabetic measures, it came down 41% in a month. And the diabetics on this, I'll show you one in a moment, their doctors had to cut their meds by 50% in a month. This is not a diet, everybody. You know what it is? A detox. The researchers did blood, stool, urine, and fat analysis, proving this is helping our body remove the chemicals we're storing inside our body. It's not up for debate. As a matter of fact, I kind of know the guy that wrote this, discovered this medical syndrome called TDOS. T is for the toxic chemicals we're storing in our fat cells. The D is for the deficiency of our food nutritionally, overweight, and stress. It's a registered trademark U.S. Patent Office of a new medical syndrome. I kind of know the guy. Oh, Peter Greenlaw, who's that? That's actually me. I discovered this. Registered trademark of a new medical condition that we all have, including all of you. No diet touches this, touches removing chemicals from the body. They did the proof to prove this worked. Secondly, this lowered inflammation 25% in a month. Unheard of. No diet's ever produced anything like that. And we're not treating, curing, diagnosing, or preventing any medical disease. Let me get that in just to be straight. The third thing is sustainability. That picture's 8 or 9 years old. They've kept the weight off for 8 or 9 years. I lost 40 pounds in 7 weeks 23 years ago. I've kept it off for 23 years. How simple is maintenance? Every morning I have these exotic nutrients from around the world. Unless you're on a prescription for iron deficiency or calcium, you will need no more supplements moving forward in your life. Every morning I have these amazing nutrients from Russia, Mongolia, Tibet, South America, New Zealand. Some of those nutrients come from these blue zones where people living to be 100 years old. You can't get that at your grocery store. That's why this works. They tried to do it with regular food. It never worked. Even all organic. We're lacking the nutrition in our food that used to be there 100 years ago because we've over-farmed and we've used herbicides and pesticides. But these exotic nutrients from places they're not using herbicides and pesticides. Am I making any sense, everybody? So after you get to your goal weight, do you continue? Oh, again, Bell Print, I just explained that to you, hopefully. So how do you get all the information? Bell Print, do you see the new health conversation? Let me show you Bell Print and Nancy. Go to Google. I'm inviting you. I'm not telling you. I'm not your boss, okay? Type in the new health conversation. You see it there. There it is on Google. Click on there. There's the medical website. There's nothing on there for you to buy. But Number one is an exclusive podcast with the number one weight loss nutrition physiologist in the world who invented this. They don't have any products to sell. They don't have a company. He's just giving you the medical science. Number three, the actual medical science. Now, if you like what you see, you can scroll down and you get a free coach. You'll see right here, we listed it for you in black above, free coaching to ensure your success. How much is the coaching, everybody? $0. We have kids as young as 2 doing this. We have a lady 91 years old. We have people with no thyroids. We have a man with a heart transplant, kidney transplant. We have people with no gallbladders, and we're not treating, curing, diagnosing, or preventing any medical diseases. This is not a diet, everybody. It's a way of life. That's what the new health conversation is, a movement. It's a movement. We hope all of you will at least go and check it out. If nothing else, prove us wrong. Does that make sense, Nancy? And does that make sense, Bella Prinette? Do you understand now? Again, the coaches will show you. That's what the coach's job is. They're going to give you the grocery list, and they're going to show you how to buy those nutrients not from the coaches. The coaches have nothing to sell you. And then they're going to show, also, I forgot the most important thing. The coaches will also give you what they used in the medical trials. They created these called the blueprint for success. Each one of these yellows here is what you're doing on an actual day, right? In other words, it's a video saying it's safe. This is what you're doing. By the researchers, not by us. This is going to change the world. It makes every diet obsolete. I will tell you this, Nancy or Bella Print, if the people who go there and end up talking to about 100% of them want to do it. They'll answer all your questions for free. The coaching's 100% free. There's no gimmicks. It's not like, oh, how much is the consultation? $0. How much is the coaching? $0. The goal is to teach you how to get to your goal and stay there. Now, I did get the website. Great, Nancy. Okay, Nancy. Wait a minute. Nancy said, I did get the website. And then the same Nancy said, I didn't. So you see it right there, the new health conversation in blue right above her head. I'm confused, Nancy. I'm confused. I'm sorry. I'm confused. Belle Purnett, do you understand? That's the website where you go see the medical proof. Then you decide. We're not going to contact you. I promise you. So, okay. Great. All right, Bella Print. Yes. And I want both of you ladies to know that we're not going to contact you. If the medical proof is what I'm saying, why would we have to convince you? And the coach is there to answer all your questions. They're going to coach you for free. We all got coached. And what's happening is that people are doing this, having a great result, and then maybe their brother or sister wants to do it, and a lot of them are helping us coach people. Because it's just different than anything you've ever done before. You're not by yourself. They're live coaches. They'll call you, text you, email you. I'm serious. I know it sounds too good to be true, and the more I tell you how great it is, the worse I'm making it for myself. I'm making you more skeptical. I get it. So is there a cost involved at any point? No coaching cost at all, Bella Print. Bella Print, let me explain it to you again. Take whatever you spent last month on food, approximately, and take 25 to 30% of that. That's all the food you're going to buy from the grocery store, okay? And you get the list: proteins, fats, carbs, fruits, and vegetables, and the serving sizes. That's why you're only spending 25 or 30% of what you spent last month, because the serving sizes are going to be smaller in quantity, but huge amounts of nutrition because they've picked out the foods for you. The other 70% of these nutrients that come from around the world, so you're either buying 30% of what you're spending at your grocery store, the other 70% pretty much pays for these nutrients from around the world, or maybe a little bit more, maybe $25 more a week. But again, look at the results. Does that make sense? Yeah, I'm Bella Print. I know it sounds too good to be true. But Bella Print, the thing that, now another thing for Bella Print and for Nancy, I didn't even share this with you. Talk about too good to be true. This is the cover of Women's World. #1 women's magazine in the world. Over 15 protein miracle. That's this. The two women on there, I coached them. The daughter, she's 57 years old. Nancy, she lost 50 pounds in 3 months. Her mom is 80 years old, lost 102 pounds in a year. They both have kept it off for 3 years. Her mom's 80, she's going to be 81 in October. You think you get on the cover? It's not me, my protocol. It's not me because I got on the cover. But the reason that they did it is because this is the only protocol in the world that's published in 10 of the biggest medical journals in the world. That's why it's not too good to be true. Because when you get published in a peer-reviewed human trial study, it's irrefutable medical proof because it's already been vetted by who? Not by the journals. They hire doctors and other researchers to discredit what you're proving. That's why no drug ever gets approved without a peer-reviewed human trial study. Not a clinical study, not of mice or rats or chickens or in a petri dish. See, and that's the thing. Can anybody, either Nancy or, right, I'm 54. Well, you could, I mean, it's just, look at, I'm going to show it's a man, but wait till you see this. He's 65 years old, 40.8 pounds, 52 inches in a month. Remember, we were talking about A1C and diabetics? Look at his A1C. It went from 8.4 to 6.4. Triglycerides from 242 to 124. You think any diet's doing that? No way. You know, you hear when you get older, it's hard to lose weight. Well, don't tell him that. And that's without any exercise. Look at his stomach. Nancy, can you see that in 30 days with no exercise? Is this crazy? And Nancy, I mean, and Nancy, 70% of what you would buy, it's, oh, I didn't even tell you about that. The best part, Nancy and Peanut, those exotic nutrients you're buying from around the world, in the first 30 days, if you didn't like this, it didn't work, 100% money back guarantee. Because we don't sell you anything, so we can't do that. 30% of what you spent, you know, your groceries, you're buying a month's worth of food. That's what I'm trying to get across here. There's no product. It's food. That's what makes it so. But the peer-reviewed human trial studies take away the skepticism. Because if you don't believe in peer-reviewed human trial studies, then you should never take a drug again. Because no drug ever gets approved without a peer-reviewed human trial study. Nancy, does that make sense? And Bella Purnett, does that make sense? And the rest of you, anybody else that's on here. So Nancy, here's what I would challenge everybody. Then go there and prove us wrong. Prove us wrong. Because I don't think, Nancy, I don't think you're willing, either one of you, I hope you're not willing to take the chance. What if this is real? Did you miss on something that could change the rest of your life? Because honestly, Nancy, you already told me 3 or 4 months to lose 20 pounds, and you easily could lose it in a month with no exercise. But they're not against exercise. That's what your coaches will go over. But the researchers didn't allow exercise for one reason. Otherwise, you would have said, well, she lost weight because it was diet and exercise. No, it wasn't. They wore Fitbits to prove they weren't exercising. How crazy is that? And the thing, it's sustainable. Like I said, these 2 women, they've kept it off for 3 years. I mean, I coached them both. You might kind of know them, right? Listen, Nancy and Bella, I understand it's too good to be true. But all I would say to you, are you willing? Are you both open enough to go there and look at the medical proof? We won't contact you. And then you decide if you want to coach or not. I'm just curious, has either one of you been on any type of diets at all? Have you seen weight loss that came back, or did you struggle? Did you plateau? Where is it? Oh, great, Nancy. Oh, wonderful. Terrific. But Nancy, I'm just curious, or Bella Purnett, have either one of you done any kind of diets? And if so, you know, what happened? I mean, obviously, I don't think you'd be on this podcast if they had worked. Listen, everybody, if any of these diets work, think about this, okay? Nancy and Bella Purnett and everybody else. If any diet worked, we now have a projection, I have it over here from Johns Hopkins Medical School, that within 4 years, they're estimating 86% of Americans are going to be overweight or obese, and half of those are going to be pre-diabetic. Does that sound to any of you like diets are working? And yet you're holding on to this. I'm not saying, I'm not talking to anybody in general, I'm just talking to generalization. Can anybody name a diet that doesn't involve some form of counting calories? But it's the craziest thing ever, because the human body has no idea what a calorie even is. Does anybody know what a calorie is? Anybody? Yeah, look, lost 25 and gain it back, right. Even Mounjaro for an entire year. Can I read to you about the studies, Nancy and Bellarnet and everybody else? Now, here's the first thing I'm going to say. Whether it's Mounjaro or semaglutide or Ozempic or triepside, they're all GLP-1s. So again, we're not against the shots. They can help diabetics and help people morbidly obese. But let's look at the medical evidence about the real success from a weight loss perspective. This is the New England Journal of Medicine. You all can look it up. So again, the censors, we're giving them, it's in the public domain. They can see what I'm not making a claim when I'm reading from the medical proof, okay? So they did a 68-week study, Nancy and everybody else, right? At the end of 68 weeks, the weight loss was 32 pounds, and 40% of what people lost was lean muscle mass. Compared to her losing 21 pounds in a month, which one would you choose? And I'm talking to everybody now. The shots are nothing. Do you understand what the shot is? It's a low-calorie diet. It slows down the food moving through your digestive tract. You eat more food. Forget calories. Your body's not counting calories. Doesn't know what a calorie is. So when you slow down the amount of food, you're full longer. You eat less. But what are you getting less of? Nutrition. They proved that 40% of what they lost of the 32 pounds in 68 weeks was lean muscle mass. This is New England Journal of Medicine. This isn't me making things up. I don't have to, what's cool about what I do, I don't have to make anything up. These influencers you see, and they're pulling stuff out of the air. And if what they were telling you was valid, they'd have a peer-reviewed human trial study. Why don't they have them? Because they'd be exposed for the claims they're making they can't back up. Right? Yeah, lost 25 pounds and gained it back. So who else would like to ask me a question? We're at 45 minutes. I'm going to go maybe another 15 minutes. But Nancy, is this making sense? And also Beller Burnett. But again, I don't even want anybody to believe me. I'm the researcher of the researchers. Not just these researchers, but other researchers. And I'm not bragging. I have written 4 best-selling books with some of the top medical doctors. Oh, I should also tell you, whether it's Nancy or E. Burnett or any of you, this last study came out 6 months ago, had nothing to do with weight loss. It was published in Nature Communications, the #1 medical journal in the world. The title, I'm going to read the title to you, had nothing to do with the weight loss on this protocol. Gut microbiome remodeling and metabolic profile improves drastically in response to protein pacing and intermittent nutritional fasting. They saw massive improvements in people's gut health in just a month. This is the #1 medical journal in the world validating this. That's a huge deal. And I do know a little bit about the gut, shameless plug for me. And there's no books for sale on our website. So I'm not trying to sell you books, but I want you to understand I'm not just some guy. So this book called Your Third Brain, I wrote it with the top oncologist considered in the world, who's a molecular biologist who also worked with 2 men who won the Nobel Prize in medicine. And we pioneered the whole concept of the microbiome being a brain, not just a combination of things inside your gut. We're the ones. We did it. We did the original research. So I'm not just some guy giving you, oh, a health coach. They're okay. But unless a health coach is showing you peer-reviewed medical studies, why are you listening to them? Why are you buying an app to get recipes to get coached? What? We don't charge you a penny to get coached. You've never done this. We got coached. So who else would like to ask me a question? Nancy, how would you like it? I'll tell you what I'll do, okay? If you really did fill it out, Nancy, and I'll do the same thing for you, Burnett, if you're there. But this nurse right here, I'll have her coach you. How would that be? Because she's a coach now. Both her and her mom, they're coaching people because they had such amazing results, and of course they're getting all kinds of people that are, from the magazine. How good would that be, Nancy? Would that be cool? She said, nice. You got it. Her name's Cindy, by the way, and you'll get a follow-up from Cindy. But and she's older than you. She's 57. You're 54. You're like you could be her young cousin or something, right? But the other thing I didn't even tell Nancy and Burnett, the other thing this does, massive improvement in menopause, massive improvement, night sweats, the irritability, sleeping better at night, all those things massively improved on this. I think that would be of interest to a lot of you women. Am I correct? Since they estimate right now that about 1 billion women worldwide are in menopause. I mean, it's just unbelievable. I mean, that's just normal. I mean, it's not like they're sick, but that's not something that's very much fun for any of you that have gone through it or are in it or thinking it's coming, right? Oh, good. We're at 3,100 likes. Can we get more taps on that screen, everybody? Oh, and you gave me a heart, Nancy. That's so nice of you. You're going to get Cindy, okay? 100% you're going to get Cindy. And as soon as we hang up, I'll go. I don't normally do that because I have people that, we're getting a lot of people that are really interested in this, so the coaches normally handle it. But I'll do that for you. So who else would like to ask me a question about this? It's not fake. It's real. It's not Photoshop. She was not allowed to exercise. She didn't count calories, and it's not a diet. and she lost no water weight and gained 6 to 9% lean muscle mass and really lost 5 pounds, a little over 5 pounds a week and 38 inches in 30 days. And she's kept it off for 8 or 9 years. So how great is that? Pretty great? I think so. So I think, Nancy, you and Cindy were really, she's wonderful. She's a nurse, been a nurse for 30 years. And she is shocked at what's happened to her and her mom. Can you imagine? Your mom's 80 years old and she loses, well, she's going to be 81 in October. She's lost, I think she's at 104 pounds now. I think she's even lost a little bit more. Her mom, when they started 3 years ago, couldn't climb a flight of stairs. Now her mom's playing pickleball a couple hours a day. She's swimming. She just joined a gym. It's crazy. At almost 81 years old. And her sister is 91 is doing this. Linda's in the pink here. That's the mom. Her name's Linda. The one in the blue, her name is Cindy. So the mom's sister's 91 and she's doing this. It's so great. It's so great. I have the greatest job in the world. Well, sometimes, but I got haters that come on and they want to take me on and say, I'm an idiot. I don't know what I'm talking about. It's BS. A grifter. That's the word they like to use. Really? It just makes me laugh because it's not my science, first of all. So if they're attacking me, they're attacking peer-reviewed human trial studies. That just shows that that's really an ill-fated approach. Oh man, sometimes my days are more fun than others. So again, everybody, I'm going to close in about 9 minutes. But if anybody coming on new, they'd like to know more about if you don't want to talk to me, you don't want to listen to me, just go to the website. See it right there, the New Health Conversation right above our head. You can go to Google. For those of you that are just coming on, the New Health. It's free. The website's free. You don't have to buy an app. You don't have to do anything. The New Health Conversation. And then it goes in Google, click on the link. There's the medical website. There's nothing to buy there. We won't contact you if you go there. But if you like what you see, you can scroll down and get a free coach. Guess how much the coaching is, everybody? $0. How much is the coaching initially? $0. How much is the coaching long term? $0. Our goal is to teach you how to, once you get the maintenance, we'll teach you how to maintain it for the rest of your life. I lost 40 pounds in 7 weeks for the new people on here 23 years ago. I've kept it off for 23 years. I would hope that's what would excite you. So who else would like to ask a question? Oh, I want to show all of this because this is so heartwarming. This is a little bit over a year, everybody. 200 pounds. It's not Photoshop, no loose skin. She's had no surgery. What do you all think? Look, she was happy before, a really happy person. My own, well, I don't think I shared that with you, but I will. This brings up memories of my mom. See, my mom was morbidly obese. My mom was like that. I never knew her thin. I never knew her healthy. And my mom called me up 25 years ago before I became a researcher and said, you know, Peter, I have one really big wish in my life. I said, Mom, what's that? She said, I would give anything if I could spend one day thin. I can't even imagine what that would be like. And I said, Mom, that's really cool. Well, 6 months later, massive heart attack and stroke. I loved my mom. It didn't matter how big she was like that. All she wanted was, she didn't want a week or a month. She wanted one day to be thin. She went through fat shaming. My mom, the reason I really I hate diets. Let me be honest. I'm going to be transparent. My mom did about every diet that I could imagine. She did the grapefruit diet, the cabbage. She followed Oprah. She did Weight Watchers. You know, it's over and over and over again. She'd go to Weight Watchers, lose 4 ounces in a week, and she'd get a star for 4 ounces. And my mom, you know, was like that. She needed to lose, you know, like 200 pounds. I'd see her lose 25 and gain 30 back. Lose 30, gain 30. I believe my mom dieted herself to death. That's why I hate diet so much. And I want to do everything I can to inform you, not even inform you, but make you aware of this alternative that's going to change the world. We have a sick, sick world, in case you didn't know it. In the United States, 92% of you, according to the Center for Disease Control, are metabolically unhealthy. What does that even mean? It means if you have 3 of these 5 factors, if you're overweight, high blood pressure, high blood sugar, high cholesterol, or high triglycerides, you're considered metabolically unhealthy. In 1965, metabolic syndrome, or metabolic dysfunction, they call it, didn't exist. Now we have 92.3% of the population metabolically unhealthy. To give you an idea what a burden this is now on the healthcare system, out of $4.5 trillion for what we're spending on healthcare, 1.5 trillion now is those that are metabolic and healthy, which are lifestyle, behavioral conditions. That's how bad it is. I mean, it looks like, thank goodness, they're going to be able to lower the cost of prescription drugs. well, we're going to need it. But the challenge is going to come in. They're now estimating that of the 86% of the people that are going to be overweight, obese in 4 years, 50% of those are going to be pre-diabetic. I question whether there will be enough drugs at whatever price. We're in trouble, everybody. We really are. And what do we keep doing? Calories in, calories out. I get people in here all the time who want to argue with me that I don't know what I'm talking about. Of course, it's about a calorie deficit. No, it's not. Because again, you can't even tell me, not you in general, I'm talking in general terms. They typically can never even tell me what is a calorie. So why are you talking about calorie deficits? It's about nutritional deficiency. That is the key. And the researchers, basically what they did, they said, can we figure out a way to give you less food, but make sure the food we give you has higher levels of nutrition so you never go into starvation mode, which is what happens on every diet. I shared before, whatever weight you're losing on these diets, let's say 20 pounds, 25 to 40% is lean muscle mass. It's not up for debate. That's what we know. That's why you plateau on these diets and why you gain everything back. Am I speaking to the choir? Can people address that? Can people comment about it? We're stuck at 3,100 likes. Can we get a few more likes? I'm going to go about 4 more minutes, unless someone comes on and has a question, and then I'll stay. In the meantime, any of you that are here, right above your head in blue, you can see it's a free medical website. There's no app to buy. You're not buying recipes, okay? You're getting the medical proof that nobody else has. These people you're following that want to sell you stuff, they don't have any proof except their word. They're nice people. I think they believe the nonsense they're telling you. Like you can burn fat. Oh, most of what you lose on this is fat. That's a lie right there. There's no such thing as burning fat from diets or from exercise. You're born with a certain number of fat cells and you die with a certain number of fat cells, and your fat cells over your lifetime can expand or contract. Most of you tell us what? It's not just how much weight you have in your body. You're aghast at how much fat you have. But it's not that you've created more fat cells. The fat cells are now housing, storing chemicals that we're drinking, breathing, eating. Do you all believe we're living in a toxic world? Because we are. This protocol, first and foremost, is not a diet. The number one reason to do it is for detoxification. And the researchers proved it. They did blood, stool, urine, and fat analysis, proving this was assisting the body in removing chemicals from the body. That's why she shrank. Look at her day 1 and day 30. You think that diet's going to happen and no one was allowed to exercise? They wore Fitbits to prove they weren't exercising. Come on, let's get some more taps. We're at 3,200. Who else would like to ask me a question? Would anybody like to ask me a question? Two more minutes. And if you ask me a question, I'll stay as long as you want to answer the question. And it's now 5:45 on the East Coast. I'll see if I can do one more and maybe, let's say, like 6:30 Eastern Standard Time. I'll see if I can do it, if my voice holds up. I have to take a break because my voice, otherwise, if I lose my voice, a lot of people are going to go without finding out how to do this. Okay, so I know there's a lot of new people on here still, and they didn't hear the explanation, but if you can see right above our head, see it says visit in blue, the new health conversation. That's the free, it's free to go there. There's no apps to buy or any nonsense like that. It's the medical proof. And if you like what you see, then you see right above, free coaching to ensure your success. Free coaching, free. What does free mean? Free, it's zero cost. These other people want to charge you for recipes, and then you get a coach. I mean, come on, that's silly. And if what they had was that good, they would be published in peer-reviewed human trials. They don't have it. They don't have any proof. All right, everybody, I'm going to sign off for now. And like I said, hopefully, maybe I'll be able to come back on around 6:30 Eastern time to do my last podcast of the day. All right, everybody, I'm signing off. I hope you will all go to the website, The New Health Conversation. If you like what you see, scroll down, get a free coach, okay? Thanks, everybody.